Hi, I'm Louisa Parsons, a 16-year-old student at Northwood School, and I've noticed that I don't like reading. I think many people my age would agree with me, but I've always wondered why. Why is something that seemingly comes so easily to so many adults around me so difficult for me to accomplish? The thing is, I want to read, learn, and explore through literature, but I find myself bored with books and struggling to get through only a couple pages or chapters. I think the internet and phones might be partially to blame, but I've always thought there was something else up. I couldn't believe that my resistance to reading stemmed solely from my addiction to my phone. Something was different in the way adults and adolescents were taught to read as kids. So I asked my mom, someone who's been working in reading education for nearly 30 years, for some advice.
My name is Corinne Palmeri-Parsons. Well, prior to COVID, but even after COVID, New York State has fallen drastically in the areas of reading and writing, but it's a challenge because a lot of our teachers are young. Unfortunately, they student taught during COVID. Young people trying to become teachers, trying to learn, couldn't. They couldn't go into the schools. They never saw really how to teach. Some teachers went to school the kind of background they have. And now a lot of these teachers went to school online. They're generational in the school district. Their grandmothers worked there, their mothers worked there, their uncles worked there. They're related to everyone. It's a small town. And it's hard to make change because they think that they've been successful when they clearly have not. I'm not seeing inventive, I'm not seeing enthusiastic, I'm not seeing engaging, I'm not seeing critical thinking, making learning hands-on and fun and energetic for at the elementary level is ideal. Turning the lights on. A lot of teachers are teaching with the lights off. They can't handle the enthusiasm and energy of the students. It's ineffective. I mean, you can't even see the paper. How are you going to write and read? We have turned elementary education back to 1960. The first tier of MTSS is a tier 1, which would be like best practices in education. Knowing your students, universal screener, your academic assessments so you can appropriately create small group instruction. All of that is part of tier 1. I think probably most schools in the North Country are having the same problem because when they changed the standards from Common Core to next generation standards, the state cannot change the standard without putting out a free curriculum available online through the state. It's cheap because it's free, but they have to provide it for you. Most of New York State is using this free program that's not effective. It's missing components in the science of reading, which the science of reading is phonics, fluency, word identification, comprehension, vocabulary, and phonemic awareness. It's a pendulum kind of now, instead of swinging from phonics back to a holistic approach, it's actually the science of reading is taking that pendulum and just making it make a big circle and hitting all the components. Because if you hit all the components, you'll figure out that you're teaching the children how they read individually. Even though we know best practices of reading, you really have to hit them all because you don't know how individual children with their abilities will grasp it.
I mean, people aren't reading. I know I'm not reading, and I want to be.
If you want to learn to read now, the best thing to do is to find a genre that you love and just start eating those books. You have to have goals in reading. Today I'm going to read 9 pages. Tomorrow I'm going to do 11. And don't start with ones that are too tricky. Read fluffs.
Let's recap. COVID, college, classroom practices, state programs, testing, and the science of reading all have an effect on the way we learn to read. But I think that this science of reading thing is really important, especially the aspect of reading being different for everybody. I think that language and reading in our brains is just so complex that no two people could have the same process. It's hard to comprehend or imagine the way someone else might read, which is why teaching reading is so difficult and fragile. I think that it's important that teachers do not show kids how they themselves read, but instead provide tools to allow the students to navigate their own way of reading.